Yeah, sometimes as musicians and composers, we have little scraps of information or music or pieces that we write, that we file away in a physical or digital notebook. And this one happened to be on my digital notebook. And there was a melody that went like this. Like very spring-like, very happy, positive. This is the answer. Development. And so that's the main theme. This song is written in 3 different sections. We have that section, which is the first statement, and then there's another one where this ends up a half step. It's a little bit more of a stride section. So and so on and so forth. And then there's a third section, which is kind of the capitulation. And that one's a very shorter statement. And the music was written in the earlier part of the 20th century. It was written in sections. If you think of John Philip Sousa, if you think of Scott Joplin, you think of even Duke Ellington and some of the ways that they would through compose sectional music. James P. Johnson wrote like that. A lot of the stride musicians, and so there'd be like an A section, a B section, maybe it'd hit A again and B again, and then go to C and then D, and then maybe finish out on E or F. It would be so far away from the original thing, and it's a style of composing that we don't really see very much in the type of jazz that's played in the clubs and stuff now. And so it's one thing I love to do is bring that form back. It's almost like if you were to play in a sonata form or something in classical music. And so this song is written in 3 sections, and it's like A section, you improvise over it, and B section, you improvise over that, and then C section, improvise over that, and back to the A, and finally that's the last statement. But usually when we think of A, B, and C, we think of 8-bar phrases, but these are more fleshed out. And I had this melody hiding away, and it always reminded me of Willie the Lion Smith, who was one of my favorite influences and favorite pianists and personalities in the music. He was born in the 1890s, and grew up in Goshen, New York, and had just a host of different influences. And he was in World War I doing artillery. He was also just like a shark on the piano, could play anything in any style, beautiful ears. And always had a cigar hanging out of his mouth. He was always... he was a raconteur. He was talking, and he was a character. He was always like singing and playing, and he just lived to entertain. And his music is very special to me. The way he composed is such a style, and it had a big influence on me. And I wrote something that came out and reminded me of him, and I decided to call it Lion Song in his honor. The middle section, kind of a stride thing like this. that section is very classical, really, in its presentation, and a lot of that music was directly related to classical. Yeah, I think the song is really interesting, and it's one of the most quoted songs in jazz. You know, you always hear someone playing on every you know everywhere you turn, you can hear someone kind of quoting that or dealing with it. There's a couple of recordings I like. There was a George Coleman one with the Wynton Kelly Trio from the Left Bank in Baltimore that I don't think it ever officially came out, but we found it on YouTube, and just spoke to me in a cool way. And Jimmy Cobb on drums, my favorite. Also, Kenny Barron plays it, and he does some interesting harmonic stuff, and with Buster Williams, and I don't know. There's just a lot of different ways to do it, and I think the first time I ever played it, it was like an all-star set at the Vail Jazz Party with Lewis Nash and John Clayton and my friend Dan Wilson, guitar player, and we put together like kind of an arrangement real quick. And that ended up being the arrangement that I took a couple of steps forward. But we kind of put a Ray Brownish intro, and it would be like 1, 2, 3, 4, and a little space for the drums, and then up a half step, more space for the drums, and then a little answer to that. That sets up the tune. A lot of mystery in there. Space. And then a big surprise a la Betty Carter. She had a big surprise on that tune where it was like real quiet. And then all of a sudden the band just smacks in with that. And so we incorporated a few different versions of that song, and just kind of played it on the road a bunch. And when you play something on the road night after night and develop it in different settings and playing for different audiences, and this is what it feels like in a club, this is what it feels like in a concert hall, this is what it feels like a little bit slower, a little bit faster, this is what it feels like if we give the drums more space. And so we kind of experimented, and we like to talk about the music a lot. And we'd have a little drum solo at the end, and just different ways of kind of communicating the song and the lyric without the lyrics, and the song has some tricky lyrics, a lot easier just to play it than a little reharm. Just one of those songs that's fun to play. I think musicians play songs their whole lives, and they keep adding and subtracting and reinventing, and new things sound good to their ears. And even in my 30s now, having played some of these songs for 15 years or so, it boggles my mind how we can find something new in them every single time. It's like a great recording too. You listen to a great solo, you hear something new in that solo every time you listen to it. And a great song, you find something new with it every time you play with it, and play it. And play it with great musicians too. And those standards are the common ground. It's our language that we share when we're meeting a musician. You're not even able to speak with them in some foreign country, but you can sit down and play Jerome Kern's All the Things You Are. That's a special moment. Instead of counting from 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then all of a sudden you're in 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then we go back to 4. Then we're back and forth. Back to 3. So I'm inventing on the spot now. Back to 4. Maybe we go into kind of a feeling where it's more modal, so to speak. So that's a little more modal, kind of stretched out, sitting on pedal points, messing with the harmony a little bit, using 4 chordal harmony, superimpositions and stuff like that, and imagining different sonorities. If we're playing it more bluesy. Which also works. You can take it into a more bluesy feel. You can take it in a more chordal, open modal feel. We took it into a waltz. So those are some examples of things that you could just come up with and kind of hint at. And maybe if you're playing with musicians who are experienced, they can help you kind of flesh that out in real time. And that's one of the most exciting parts about playing these standards, is that you can reinvent them like that. And you can communicate with the musicians around you in an endless amount of ways. Yeah, I was thinking of my dear friend Fumi Ononaye when I wrote this piece of music, and he's so like most human beings, so deep and complex and has a lot of sides, and I just thought about just the groove and the funk and the different parts of his personality that I liked, and the first thing is really the sensitive part, which is just starts with the pedal, and here's the main theme. Just a pedal point can leave so much possibility. This is the part where it gets going. kind of more funky part. Latin grooves. And here's the hook. It gets back into the beginning there. So that's the basis of the composition and the different sections. We got the sensitive open section, and then we have the kind of more exploratory place that it gets to next. Then it goes hard swinging, and then it goes to a Latin. So it shows a lot of different lower Latin, more groove based. So contrast to the swing. And we had some percussion and different things on that, and even had some koshka on the track too, his favorite instrument. And it was just meant to show all sides, because we as humans, we have many different sides of us, infinite really. It's just like a great song. You can find something new. You can find something new within yourself every day. And I thought it would be a great template to have some of those other musicians explore and kind of collaborate on as well. And we just did it to celebrate our man Fumi. Something that just came, we've recorded some other pieces from the Jewish tradition. With Ron Carter, we did a piece called the Hatzi Kaddish. And it's kind of just brings me back to some of the original melodies that I was hearing as a child, and singing, and we never know what the stuff means in Hebrew as Americans, which I think is also funny, that the tradition is largely melody based, and different congregations have different melodies and stuff like this, but this is one of the most powerful ones. This is the first part, and then the answer. And that's the song. It's just a simple chant. Yeah, it's another show tune that Cannonball Adderley plays this tune pretty fast. Sarah Vaughan sings it too. It's an interesting melody. And then kind of took it up tempo. Just an opportunity to play something real up tempo. Featured the brushes of Joe Farnsworth, and we like to play fast and push our limits of how fast we can play, still controlled, and that's something I guess you do when you're young. Oh, that one's just a quick head chart, which means I just kind of wrote a blues like they would do back in the day at a Blue Note session or a Verve session or something like that. And it's kind of the last tune on the record where we didn't have to think that much. There was no real arrangement, and everyone could take a couple courses on the blues, and we could feel that sextet energy. And yeah, this is it. And we just kind of passed it around on the blues, and it was just a chance for everyone just to relax and play and not be like so in the chart. And it's a form everyone knows how to play over B flat blues, and I think the listener appreciates that too. You know, it's something that you know, people compose all this music and play all these arrangements and stuff, and on our favorite records it's oftentimes the blues at the end of the record that people just want to turn on and party and feel good. You know, so it's a feel good piece at the end of the record where we just got a chance to smile and play, you know, and that's what it's about.
Interesting paradox that you talk about the blues as a feel-good piece.
Yeah, well, it's both. You know, it's the blues is when we teach the kids, we say the blues is good and bad, happy and sad, and then they repeat it, and it's everywhere. It's cathartic, and it allows us to heal. You know, the blues is about healing. It's about, you know, everything's kind of messed up, but it's going to be okay. and that's what we remember when we think about the blues form, the different blues forms and styles, and that's why it's the last track on the record, because it's saying everything's going to be okay. You know, our dear friend isn't here anymore, but he left us with these great gifts, and we're going to persevere, and it's going to be all right. And that's what humans have done for many, many generations. And this music is such a great tool to celebrate life and understand loss, and share communion with your fellow human beings. Everyone's going to experience it in their own way, based on their life, their past, and with their headspace and what they need. A lot of times people take from a piece of art or from a piece of music or a record exactly what they need, and you know, and that's the cool thing about it. We do what we do, and people love it, they hate it, somewhere in between. It's extremely meaningful to them. It makes them think about something. They brings up an old memory and help them through a difficult time. And you know, there's infinite ways that people you know, interact with the music, and especially now more than ever. You know, you can hear a live gig, you can watch a live stream, you can turn on a record, you can go down to the subway and hear musicians playing their hearts out, and you never know when that moment is you're going to connect with something, and you may need it most in that moment, truly. So I hope people find this record when they need it most.